In fact, already fourth call in a series of very successful sessions that we organize around IBM Cloud Paks. IBM Cloud Paks, which are, of course, a core offering from and of IBM. Today's session will be about IBM Cloud Pak for automation. We have already scheduled another one, in fact, for security, which is foreseen for the 25th of June. So if you haven't enrolled yet for that one, please do so. Now, during this call, we will put everybody, except for the speaker, of course, on mute. But nevertheless, if you have questions, remarks, please put them in the chat. We will monitor the chat and we will try to answer your questions after this session. I'm Manu de Witte. I'm an IBM account manager at Tech Data, and in the name of IBM and Tech Data, I'll welcome you to this call. Now, about a year ago, on the 9th of July 2019, IBM acquired Red Hat for an enormous amount of almost $35 billion. A huge and crucial investment for IBM. And together, IBM and Red Hat have decided to accelerate innovation by offering a next generation hybrid multi-cloud platform existing out of 6 building blocks, 6 IBM Cloud Paks. A Cloud Pak offers an open, faster, and secure way to move core business applications to any cloud to enterprise-ready, containerized software solutions. As said, today we will talk about, or I give you a high-level introduction to IBM Cloud Pak for automation, which helps you to design, to build, and to run automation applications and services on any cloud using pre-integrated automation technologies and low-code tooling. Today we have the pleasure to welcome from IBM Yannis Nakos, who is Digital Business Automation Sales Leader, and he will introduce to you IBM Cloud Pak for automation. Yannis, stage is yours.
Thank you, Manu. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Already, lots have been said by Manu in the introduction, so I'll do my best to keep you entertained for the next few minutes. As we said, we will keep some slot at the end for question and answers. So I just hope that we will have, I mean, you can keep that interactive at that time, and we will try to address as many as possible. So for the time being, just a short introduction. Most of the attendees today are coming from business partners. That was really the aim, and therefore for some of you, you know me already, some of you not yet. Very briefly about me, if I have to define myself, honestly, I'm just coming from your shoes. I mean, for the people coming from that business, from the services business around digital transformation, what I can say about me is that I spent like 20 years actually in the services business before joining IBM in a sales role, in a sales exclusive role. I was leading these services at Xerox, Fujitsu, and CSC for a while. And when I started about 8 years ago at IBM, it was really about the ECM, Business Enterprise Content Management at that time. However, for the last 20 years, Enterprise Content Management got ramifications with BPM and workflow since the start. So obviously, as part of the IBM broad portfolio, we had lots of different technologies for managing processes. And I mean, 2 years ago in 2018, what we've done is that we assembled actually these different technologies into one meaningful portfolio that we called digital business automation. As part of that portfolio, we had several ways actually to deliver our technologies, and as it was pointed by Manu just before, the idea was really to come to a single way actually to go to the market, not only for our products about digital transformation and automation, but also for the rest of the software stack. So that's how we introduce actually the strategy of the Cloud Paks. And indeed today what we will be zooming in is on the Cloud Pak for automation. This is meant for running as microservices, so it's containers for the ones of you who know what it is. It's running, these containers are kind of microservices, so they suffice to themselves. They can run independently from the other containers. They can be provisioned in a few seconds, in a few minutes, and they run actually through one governance layer, which is the Kubernetes console that at Red Hat is called OpenShift. This is meant actually for us, for IBM, to deliver extremely fast and SaaS, the same technologies in a SaaS model, so operated by IBM and delivered to the customers as a service, or in a private cloud on site at the customer side or the customer's data center, and with a vision actually on a hybrid cloud, meaning that our view for the future is that customers won't be bound to a specific cloud provider, the same way that they today go and buy and they purchase actually assets from different vendors. They will well decide upon having some part of their workload being running on Microsoft Azure, some part on the IBM private or public cloud, and eventually same will go for the private cloud that where they will be able to store actually their more secure type of data if they want so. Now, if you look at what happened in the last few weeks, we all are living kind of a weird situation where I must say that for myself as well, we are pushed into different directions, and it's not always easy actually to understand and decide upon what's important, what is urgent or not. In fact, when you look at the different messages that which are pretty comforting from our organizations, you have different kind of visions coming in opposition to each other. So we are pushed actually to keep somehow as much as possible with the kids around, etc., the healthy work-life balance. But at the same time, we should avoid being disengaged, right? So still keep focus. And when you look statement by statement, sometimes it becomes quite difficult actually to understand where you should put your attention at the end of the day. The days are becoming longer and longer when everything is happening at home. The boundaries between what we should do as a family person, as an individual, and as a professional are blurring away, and it's not easy actually. And the workload overall is probably growing instead of getting more to the point. So eventually what I'm finding out, and that is what we hear also from customers, is that by being isolated at home, what you do is really focus day after day on whatever is popping up. It's more difficult, I would say, in the last few weeks to get organized. And the reality is that we are spending lots of time on tasks which are not always delivering value, right? So the question is, wouldn't that be better if we could really focus on the items where we really make a difference? That's what we try actually to resolve with our platform, with the Cloud Pak for automation. And if you look as well into the big companies, when you hear that Hertz actually, after so many years on the market, is about to collapse in the United States, sometimes you feel like indeed the Darwinism is striking more than ever. So actually, it's not the biggest companies actually which survive, are really the ones being the most responsive to change, right? So the more agile you are, the more able you are in a digital world to face with the right tools and focus on the right items your task force, the best you can survive actually. So Of course, everyone in the last few years have looked at artificial intelligence. Everyone is speaking about business transformation. And that idea of merging all together any kind of technology which can help automating our tasks, which can help getting support and augment actually the people's contribution to the company's goals through artificial intelligence. That is more or less what we are calling intelligent automation. Okay, or digital transformation and digital automation. Gartner recently came up with a new term for that that you will hear more and more, which is hyper automation, and that is when you actually merge all together the several components of AI, of workflow, of automation skill sets and technology that you can assemble all together. Now, of course, everyone wants that. But if you look really who is currently doing it, in the recent study that we've done with the IBM Institute for Business Value, where we actually go and speak to CXOs every single year and check their strategic agenda, we are not even going to the Pareto rule, right? We are still closer to 10% rather than even 20%, while the technologies are there for quite a while. While everyone knows that artificial intelligence is now kind of coming to a maturity point, which it really delivers out of the box skills. However, the reality is that you don't have too many companies saying, yeah, my program now is ongoing and I can really benefit day after day about these technologies. So the question is why? And if you look at the root cause analysis about this statement, you will find out that one of the biggest issues is about skills gap, and skills gap is coming actually in different flavors. One of them is, of course, access to the right technology, but then it's also about having access to you guys, people coming from that business, understanding how to carry on actually with the requirements of the customer, and translating into a meaningful solution these kind of technologies all together, bundling them, but also coupling them with the customer's environment. And that is one of the things that actually we are finding out in the last few years, that it was really a difficult task actually for the business partners, but also for the software providers, to assemble one meaningful platform. And that's what we've done actually at IBM. We focused very, very much on this the last 3 years, and that is what I will be presenting to you in the next few slides. Now, in terms of data and model quality, you can have the best processes ever. You can have the best technology, the best AI. The fuel for all that will be the information, the data in context. And if the data that you base yourself on is fault, of course, the process cannot run, or will not run with the right outcome, right? So one of the elements that you need to put all together is not only having the right brains, the right analysts at the customer side being engaged, but you also have to make sure that you have some level of data governance in place, which delivers as a fuel to the processes the right data at the right time. And then it's also about operationality, in fact, of the two previous elements. Is how do I, at the end of the day, make sure that I can move on with these kind of projects? Who is owner of what? And therefore, the governance model of such organizations and for such programs is extremely important, because out of a sudden, you cannot do digital, you cannot do automation without having on the same table and the business owners, the business analysts, and the IT all together. Going for the waterfall model, where the business is saying something in 500 pages and then IT is taking over, is something which doesn't work. That's what we discovered, and actually, which is still painful in lots of cases, is you need to have a governance model where this is triggered by both sides at the same moment, and whenever something pops in, you can really decide upon both sides what's the best target for the next milestone is. So what we've done as well, and what we're trying to achieve with this platform, actually, if you look from yesterday, I mean, for more than 20 years, I was working in scanning projects, in document management projects, in process management projects, and what we were doing, actually, it's management. We were trying to make sure that we were able to recover the status of a process, the status of a document, where the document was stored, etc. And we were trying to manage the situation. Now, with the explosion, end of transactions, end of information, this becomes more and more difficult to be done in a manual world. And therefore, that's the reason why we need to come up with some level of automation on top, and using actually some artificial brains to support what the human being is able to do. Now, we come back on the fact of the focus. In the 90s and the 2000s, everyone was about cost cutting. After the internet bubble has exploded, what we figured out is that everyone was coming back to a cost model. And honestly, this crisis that we are now living, one of the risks of this crisis is again that the cost savings will be a key focus. However, if you don't come up with new business models, if you don't come up with new customer experiences and ways to engage with the customers, with your audience, if you're in the public sector, that will be extremely difficult actually, because you can have the best technology ever. If you don't have adoption, if you don't make sure that this is what delivers value to the end users, that will never flow. Then, in terms of orchestration, I mean, I spoke already about that, so I will not take too much of this. But again, we were for years and years going for a vision of best of breed approach. I want the best database with the best application server, with the best document management system, and the best collaboration tool, and this and that. And Gartner actually, and Forrester, these analysts made great money out of that, because yeah, every time that you have one specific field popping up, you have a new report to sell. However, in reality, the difficulty at the end, and for the customer and for the BPs like you, is that this costs an awful amount of money to keep all these pieces glued all together. Okay, so that's the reason why what you've seen emerging in the last couple of years on the market is more and more vision on digital transformation platforms. Whoever at this time in this business area is not coming with an integrated platform where all the skills, all the capabilities are intrinsically speaking to each other, they run the risk actually to become irrelevant to this market. So if you look in another way, what we try to achieve here is to going from the fact of digitizing work, okay, the elements of work, content, business rules, different sub-elements, which needs at some point to be orchestrated and speaking to each other. Then the next wave that we were a couple of years ago was to try to infuse AI as part of these mechanisms, these services. And what we are now pursuing in our vision and in our strategy is to make sure that at the end, we use people when actually they are really delivering value as part of a process, and we augment them with a hybrid kind of a workforce. So either a real colleague of mine whenever it's needed on demand, or if need be, a bot or a piece of software actually, which can help me carry on my tasks quicker. And through the usage of these different technologies, I'm now able to go for different kind of automations and actually automate different type of activities. Obviously, when we go for repetitive work, so mundane kind of tasks that I do every single day, which don't deliver lots of value, but it's repetitive, it's again and again. I mean, there are couple of technologies which are great on the market for this in the last few years, such as RPA or RDA, robotic desktop automation, robotic process automation, and which are really extremely good at taking these repetitive sequences of tasks and on the screen play them again and again by changing some key parameters by variables. So whatever I've done for one specific invoice for Mr. X, what I will be doing now is replaying the same sequence, but now for Mr. Y or Mrs. Z. So that is really a great nifty tool actually into that kind of toolboxes. BPM, if you look at the business process management area for the last 20, 25 years, it was just about that as well, right? Straight through processing I mean, foreseeable vision on what your processes can be, a design tool, and then everyone has to comply and go for repetitive kind of tasks in the same way. However, on the other side of the spectrum, what you get is expert type of work. And that's where things become a little bit more tricky, is when I need to be an expert in order to make a decision as about what will be the next best action. Out of a sudden, everyone doesn't have exactly the same experience. And how do you make sure then that it's not the process which drives the people, but the people who drive the process? And for this, we had, as part of our portfolio, we had IBM Case Manager, which was our adaptive or dynamic case management tool. And that we fused all together actually as part of the Cloud Pak for automation. So coming back on the platform, if I open that great box of Cloud Pak for automation, what will I find in it? Actually, what we try to do as part of the Cloud Pak for automation is to digitalize every single function of a human being. Okay, and therefore we are delivering technologies which are speaking to each other. Which are actually delivering different senses of you, me, all together. For the right brain, so the most creative part and the one which is used actually for interpretation, what I will be using over there will be some level of cognitive technology. So the Watson brand as part of IBM. Then for whatever has to do with logic, I will be using some rules, right? So a business rules engine is exactly what it is meant for. Then I need at some point when I'm seeing some information, I need to analyze it. I need to understand it. I need to extract the right information. That's what I will be doing with my eyes. And at some point, before deciding what I will be doing with it, I will need to store it somewhere, either short term, either long term. That's what we do with the content management platform, where we can store and structured data, metadata as we call them, and as well the persistent kind of content, which would be a document management, I would say, or content management part. When I've been able to understand what's coming in, extract the relevant information, store it more or less for a short or long period, and decide based on rules of what I will be doing with it, then I need to do it. And that's what the central nervous system is doing through the workflow kind of capabilities that we have as part of the platform. That is for whatever I can automate on a back-end part. So when systems can speak to systems, I can have actually all these features speaking to each other and going for straight through processing, machine to machine actually. However, in some cases, this will not be possible. And for some reasons, actually, I need to get this project delivered by the next 3 weeks. Obviously, going for a back-end integration will be kind of challenging. However, does that mean that I cannot go for any kind of automation? No. And that's where RPA is coming handy. So robotic process automation is about automating the hands at the end of the day in front of the screen. So that's what we call also integration through the glass. That means that eventually whatever a user has access to in terms of tools, in terms of screens, in terms of software running on his machine, a robot can authenticate as a user as well and gimmick what a physical user would do. So therefore I can integrate actually between systems by searching in one screen, copy, pasting in another, etc., etc. All this eventually will bring some experience. Okay, when I do that several times in different contexts, that's where I'm starting as a human being to build my experience. And that's where we come with the idea of operational intelligence, because we will be storing all these streams of events. We will be analyzing them, and therefore, based on that analysis and by using artificial intelligence techniques, we will be able then to also, in the same way, augment the people by making recommendations, okay? So if I align to all these features, the product sets that we had in the past, that's what it comes to. in several names, several logos. At the end of the day, what's important for me, guys, is that at the end of such a session, which is huge, I mean, for every single one of these topics, I could speak for hours, right? Here, the only thing that we want to give is a refresh for the people who knew already about it, and then end up with a what's next, what's coming next. And for the people who are listening to us for this kind of platform for the first time, is to try to let you know, okay, these are the functional areas that we are covering as part of the platform. And therefore try to isolate with you what would be the use cases, what would be the interests that as a business partner, as an end customer, you might find the most urgent for you to explore. And therefore, I mean, please contact contact us eventually after the call, and we'll be more than happy to engage with you about supporting you into POCs, proof of concepts, and actually give you the weapons in order to go and build the right skills around them. So it comes down to this. We have a platform which can run everywhere. We have a platform which delivers out of the box several components, all tied now all together. And this is actually delivering at the end some experience, which is the operational intelligence that we can do analytics on. Okay, if we look at a functional architecture layer, I would say, or from a very marketing standpoint, it articulates like that. We have, in fact, some layer in the mid, which are the different products that we spoke about. Okay, and on top of these, what we are now delivering, and that is one of the big news, I would say, for the last 12 months. This is the low code, zero code approach. And why are we doing that? Not only because it's trendy, but we figured out that for you guys, for partners actually, some of them had an extreme knowledge and experience for the last 20 years in some of the topics. But whenever it comes to assemble all these together, that means that you need to build up new type of skills. And it's not always easy actually to get out of 20 years of experience in one or the other domain and to build the same level of expertise in the next 2 years. So therefore, we had the need eventually, in order to make sure that commercially speaking, this platform could really deliver up to speed at the customers, we had to come up with a level of abstraction layer. And that's what we now do with a level on top, which is really our strategy about low code, zero code, and which is a way eventually to mash up from very easy to somehow requiring some level of scripting, but very low end again, the ability to actually expose the different services, which are the technical services which are underneath. Okay, so that means that if tomorrow, as a business partner, you want to start up with a Cloud Pak for automation, and you want to deliver end-to-end projects with all these capabilities, you don't need to be a master in RPA, in case management or BPM, in decisions, etc., etc. What you have to look at initially is what are the requirements for the customer, what are the kind of services that you will be using, and therefore we explore together as about what is the layer of abstraction that we can already use in order to deliver these capabilities, if possible, without having to dig into this lower end layer. Okay, and the last point about operational intelligence is that every single one of these services is streaming events. Whoever has done what at any point in time or attempted to do anything with it will be registered into one big bubble, one big data warehouse that we are delivering on top of the Elastic Stack for the ones who know about it, which is an open source layer, which is consistent actually with the Red Hat acquisition that we've done. So our goal is to make sure that we deliver the most modern kind of tools with the broader adoption ever. That was one of the penalties we had from the past. It was that first step where people had to invest quite a lot in order to become proficient with the platform. Our goal here is to make sure that we go the closest possible to what's trendy on the market, where you can find actually some people with some skills on some of these bubbles, right? So if we look and zoom a little bit on these abstraction layers, from a very functional standpoint again, what can I do, for instance, with digital workers? That's kind of, I mean, that's one of the topics when I first heard about it a year ago at IBM. I said, wow, we are coming up with our own RPA technology. And actually, it's not the case. That's not what we are meaning to do with it. Of course, it's pretty similar, but that's not, we don't do RDA actually. We will not go and record a session on a screen. We will not capture sets of coordinates on a screen in order to replay that afterwards with variables. That's not what we do. What we will be doing with digital workers is assemble some skills altogether. So for the ones of you being familiar with the digital assistant from Amazon, Alexa. Alexa actually you can extend Alexa with different kind of skills, digital skills that you can just go and download from the internet, and therefore out of a sudden Alexa can now speak to your Philips lights, or Alexa can turn your TV screen on, etc., or play this TV show that you want. So the idea is that we are fueling digital workers out of the box with several skills. We give toolkits to the business partners to extend these skills depending on what they want, and sometimes it can be something that they want to market. So for instance, saying, okay, I don't know, I will be building up something which I think is generic enough to be part of every solution in the next few months, and therefore it's something that I will be assembling and selling on the market. Or on demand, because the customer has a line of business applications that they want to automate somehow, and that they want to do complex kind of tasking before sending back the outcome to one of the other microservices of the platform. You might just come up and build up one specific skill for that specific project, okay? But out of the box, the kind of skills that you will get is, for instance, classify and understand documents. So extracting the right information, try to figure out what these documents based on cognition is, and based on that, also learning feature that you will get across time, get more and more accurate into that qualification of inbound documents and inbound streams, for instance. The fact of reading emails, extracting the attachments, knowing that when it's PDF, I will be doing that. I will be sending it to the capture engine to extract data or index the content. Depending on if I find this and that terminology, then I will send it to that department and create a case to assign for specific someone or to a bot actually. Start workflows, as we said, and create tasks for specific people or departments. But also, as we said, also based on the cognitive technologies and the amount of events that we are building up in the data lake, we will learn. And through that learning curve, we'll be able, therefore, to advise employees on what's the best next action. When I'm hiring, I'm doing a hiring process, and by history, I know that for this kind of position, it took us quite a while to qualify the people, and we had to meet them again and again due to this and that type of elements that were not clear initially, etc. You will be able to learn, and you will be able to propose that additional task in the workflow, that additional meeting with that additional kind of person, in order to make sure that we get the relevant information for the process to close as soon as possible afterwards. So all in all, this is just one of the Zooms that I wanted to do, but it's just to tell you, at the end of the day, it's complementary, in fact, to RPA, as you can see it here. It can interact with bots, it can launch bots, but it's not necessarily a robotic process automation kind of technology. Okay, we try really through that to make a mashup and to deliver toolkits which allow you guys to assemble meaningful automation platforms, solutions, sorry, based on that platform as soon as possible. Now, are we good or not? Because lots of CXOs are still looking at these day after day. We have plenty of reports where we are actually taken as positioned as leaders. So here, Forrester actually has made a total economic impact for you, for you knowing what it is. They do a study based on the different technologies which are present in the platform, and through several cases, they come up with the results as about where do they figure out that the return on investment can be, where the potential of the market is, etc., etc. And this is kind of enlightening and interesting because it really covers every single aspect of the Cloud Pak for automation as it is nowadays. If you dive a little bit lower, product per product, what you will find out is that we have plenty of customers, we have plenty of references that we can share. And if you look at the analysts' rankings on every single one of these technologies, we are I mean, most of the cases, like you can see here, we are considered as leaders in the top 3 of every single of these quadrants. Now, of course, you can be potentially not the best one in every single one of them. However, I heard you to look at others who can align for so many of the capabilities being and afford actually being taken as leaders. If you look at this crossing all together, you will end up with probably 1 or 2 or 3 in the best case players in the market aligning all these capabilities as one single platform. We have some references that I will not go too deep with, but I mean, we are totally open to go and share with them with you. And what I wanted to also say for the partners on the call is that, for instance, as part of the change of mindset also and the efforts that we've done in order to make the products more consumable, but also help you out with a channel first kind of vision where we want you to be weaponized as much as possible. There are several tools that we can share with you and several elements that we can support you with. One of these elements, for instance, is the fact that whatever I have access to in terms of information about the platform, and that is true for our platform, the Cloud Pak for Automation, as well as any other of the Cloud Paks. We have put every single information about our products, our go-to-market, into one single digital asset management platform on the cloud, which is called Seismic. For the ones of you not familiar with Seismic already, it's a great tool for exchanging and publishing presentations, roadmaps, any kind of reference, etc., etc. It's extremely easy to find. It's well organized, honestly. I mean, I was pretty reluctant to change once more a year ago of platform, but now that I have it, I'm so happy with it. I mean, every single time that I have the opportunity or the requirement, I will find whatever I need under the 10 minutes. So I really urge you to take a look at it. As part of the slide deck that you will receive, the link is there, so the partners actually have access to exactly the same information as we IBMers have. Whenever something is published on the internet for us and the roadmaps, for instance, of what's coming next are there, you will have access to these as well. Okay, so please take a look. If that is not working for you or you cannot figure out how to do it by following the link, just give us a call. We will be more than happy to support you. Then another tool that we have put all together for customers is the same demos, the demo environments that we are using as well. So for this, we built up a little more than a year ago a platform which is called Blue Demos. And Blue Demo gives you the ability to look for either the entire set of the platform, either for labs. So if you want to train your own people, we have labs, as you can see here, which have been set up from a technical standpoint, but also with specific exercises and specific actions and scenarios that you need to follow, and which give you a real hands-on flavor of what the platform is, how it works, and how you can deliver services on top of. The only thing that you need to do is to browse on the link, and for this, book online. I mean, even 15 minutes before a demo, you can book online the provisioning of one of these. And because the platform is using also the same technology like we do on the SaaS model, so the Cloud Pak for Automation, that is provisioned in, I mean, most of the cases in 5 to 20 minutes. Okay, so you have access to the same environments as us in order to make your demos and your proof of concept at the customers. Now, we are coming to a point where normally in the next few minutes, I should give you some space for the questions. However, I got, and that is fresh from the press, some information that I wanted to share with you, which normally is IBM internal, but we are in family here, right? So the idea is that in any case, everything of this will be public in the next few days. So general availability will be for June 26th. And I just wanted to, for the more hardcore, I would say, followers of this call, who know already lots of what we of what the platform is about. What I wanted to give you is a little bit insights on what's coming next, right? So there we are. What is flowing in the next few hours, the next few days by end of the quarter? It's a substantial update, okay? So a few years back, we decided at IBM to move for a constant delivery model. That means that every 3 to 6 months, we are pushing new fix packs, which actually embed two things: real technical fixes when bugs are discovered and addressed, and also new features. So it's all in one. That means that for some customers, I mean, traditional customers, it might be frustrating because sometimes, yeah, when they used to plan their upgrades every 2 years, of course, that means that for 2 years, you will lose up to 4 new add-ons per year, new waves of add-ons, and that's substantial, actually, really. So that's the reason why we have as a focus, and we hope through you guys to also come to that conclusion. So we weaponize you, and the incentives are there also for you to do that, is to really push the customers, the current customers, with the traditional components, the individual components, being it ODM, Operational Decision Manager, or FileNet, or BAW, now being the fusion between Case Manager and BPM. All these components, all these customers actually having entitlements for these should really look at a trade-up plan anytime soon, in order for them to benefit from this new provisioning model, where when they run the Cloud Pak, when they go for the containers, they can really benefit overnight of all these new features. We deliver every 3 months new templates for the containers, and it's totally transparent for them. They just upload so the system can for itself get the new definition from IBM, and therefore can deploy overnight the new environments with the new nifty features without having someone to do that layer per layer. So that's a great tool, and again, that's for me one of the biggest motivations of moving to the Cloud Pak, is that ability that we have to automate the provisioning and the updates afterwards of the maintenance of the different software layers. Now, if you look at the components, there are lots of things coming up. New versions of OpenShift, new versions of the different elements that you see a star just assigned. I just wanted to go very quickly over two, and then we will give some space to you for the questions. One of them is again the business operations management, so BAI, business automation insights. So the part of where we are storing the experience actually of all the flows. And when you look at what's coming next, there are several elements. I will not go one after the other on it, but I honestly, if you are interested by these specifically, I will be more than happy with Malik, my best half, to come and make a demo actually of these, because they are really bringing some new value on top. So for instance, what we will be doing through that is process monitoring, defining scorecards with KPIs, but what's quite interesting here is the machine learning enablement that we get now on, which will, as I said previously, which really comes now to the point where the system can advise you for the next best action, or to say to a department owner, to a head of department, look, given the seasonality, given the fact that we are in June, and with what happened the last 2 years in June and July, if you want to end up and cover all the demands that you have for the moment, you will have to realign additionally 2 people to do this and that, or potentially to switch your cases and your different dossiers. This sent to Michelle, this to Maria, because actually they are more specialists into this and that element as part of these cases. So that's where we are coming to. Plus, we are making available all the data which is stored in these to data scientists for building up their own models. Okay, so that means that really whoever is proficient or wants to be proficient with the AI story can now dig into that data and make meaningful scenarios, build meaningful scenarios out of these in order to deliver value to the customer. One of the additional elements that we are building up on top is a natural language query, meaning that in the same way that you would interact with a chatbot, you can come up against that data warehouse and ask in natural language, in your own language, questions openly about my task force, about my dossiers, about where am I in terms of KPIs, etc., etc. So I'm speaking, interacting naturally without having to master a specific scripting language. And that means at the end, more adoption by more analyst kind of profiles, less and less developers required, more and more configuration. Okay, that's really the strategy that we are carrying on with for the last 3-4 years. That gets crystallized once more, and you will have more and more of that in that low code, zero code approach. Yeah, some slides actually to show a little bit of what I just said. It's very easy to build up dashboards, and here you will be able to see, if you can, actually the user asking how many orders are in flight, and the AI answering, I found 52 orders. The 52 orders, it's drilled down. If I click on it, I'm then getting the insights in a pie chart, etc., etc. So it's really a more modern way and more natural way to interact with the data which lies beneath. And I'm tempted to close here, honestly, because that will be opening another story about the automation studio. But just to close on with one slide, or maybe the idea is that we are delivering now a low-code editor, and as you can see here, for whoever has kids who have been sent to a coder dojo or things like that, you see and you recognize this kind of scripting manner. So we are using actually low code kind of a paradigm in order to build up real code in the back. But that means that an analyst trained in a couple of days on the way of creating this kind of syntax can assemble by drag and drop statements, which end up being translated into code for pure play developers afterwards to take over if need be. Okay, so again, the digital worker will be supported by more and more natural manners of interacting. When code can be avoided, we will avoid it, and then it's pure configuration. When we need to go a little bit deeper with conditional statements and exposing lower end lower end functions of the components underneath of the platform, then you will have the ability to assemble some pseudo code with this manner, which then will be translated for pure play developers at the end. Voila, I will stop there for today and give you then the floor for the few minutes to come. I can go beyond the 3 p.m. For the ones not able to. I mean, please shoot. So Manu, maybe you can take over from here if you want.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Yanis, for your great and I must say passionate explanation on IBM Cloud Pak for automation. Also, thank you for the sneak preview of what's next, what's coming up. So indeed, we still have some few minutes left for some questions. Dirk, I think, can you put people on mute?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so if there are any questions, you can now speak them out or perhaps put them in the chat as you wish.
Okay, so everybody is able to unmute themselves. Should you have any questions, please do so.
It seems like being extremely clear in my explanation, or everyone is sleeping. That's the risk after eating, you know.
Okay, but nevertheless, what we will do is we will share the slide deck. As such, you have also our coordinates. So if you should have, please share them as well with your colleagues if they weren't able to participate. If you have any further questions, remarks, be it from a sales perspective or a technical or marketing perspective, please reach out to us and let's see on how we can take the next steps. So if there aren't any further questions, I would like to close the call herewith. So thank you everybody and have a nice day.
Thank you for attending. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.